should be like you, Mel?
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Cherries fans from around the world. Wherever you're watching this, whether you be live or streaming it afterwards, what a night we've got for you. Fantastic weekend of football, putting us in 4th place on 9 points. Unreal. Malcolm, welcome to the show tonight. How are you?
Thanks, Ollie. Good evening from Europe to everybody in the chat. Hope you're all good. Yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Before I get into my thoughts and feelings, as always, just want to make sure that we say hello to everyone in the chat because there was some people here who were pretty early today, which is awesome. Don't forget, if you do want to have your say, more than welcome to jump on. That's the point of tonight's show. Reaction shows on Cherry Slaps. Get involved, have your say. If you don't want to, by all means, put it in the chat and we'll discuss it anyway. John Bond. Hi, John. Hope you're doing well.
Good evening.
And Polly Keller, how you doing? Welcome back again. Hello, everyone. Yeah, she also says another 3 points. Yeah, yep. Fantastic. Dan Watson, good evening, Cherries. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, Dan.
Very merry but angry Cherry. Welcome. A name I haven't seen before. He says, hi, John. Welcome. Hopefully you enjoy the show. Colonel John of the Russian Army. Again, another one I've not seen before. Vlad says his thanks. We'll take it. Thanks. Polly Keller, top 4. Here we go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, very good, Polly.
Really buzzing. Really buzzing. Daniel, good evening. Good evening, Dan. Nice to see you back.
Hi.
Chris Hubble, good evening, Chris. How you doing?
Hi, Chris.
Sean, Champions League, here we come. Way too early. I don't even think I'm ready to discuss your own. Love the positivity, Sean. Jamie Keynes, evening, Ollie and Malcolm. Excellent result at the weekend. Up the Cherries. Yeah, too right.
Hi, Jamie.
And Sean says, any Brighton fans in tonight? We shall see, Sean. Fingers crossed. As always, we are hopeful as ever. But we'll see. And if not, you've got our 2 friendly faces, as you're all more than comfortable with, I'm sure.
I mean, if he wants to, and there's no Brighton fans turn up, he can put a blue and white shirt on, couldn't he?
Yeah, if you're more than welcome to, Sean, if you want. Look, let's get straight into it because it's a huge game to sum up. A huge game. It was everything I wanted and more. And for the second week in a row, obviously, bar the international break, it has over-exceeded expectations. A number of players, a number of parts of that game. There was so much going on through that game that was exciting and that should be lived upon for a moment here tonight. Let's firstly start off, obviously, with Scott's goal. I mean, a piece of brilliance from his left foot. It's coming from the wing. It was just it's Bournemouth through and through, right? You watched it a bit after. It wasn't quite live for you, was it, Malcolm? But you did watch it.
I watched the game Sunday morning. It was on very late, so didn't have any other choice really. But what a beautiful bit of skill from Semenyo, bringing that ball down and then tunneling the defender with the pass to Scott. Wow, didn't see that coming. Didn't see it coming, but
no,
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, not quite like that. Anyway, I wasn't expecting it to come as fluid as it did. It looked smooth.
Right, yeah.
It was nice to see. But don't get me wrong. Luck was on our side a little bit with the 2 Brighton injuries, right?
We'll go back to that. We'll go back to that.
Absolutely, we'll come back to it. But what that did for us essentially is it allowed us to dominate. It allowed us to take control. It allowed us to really compile ourselves in a way that was dominant, and it was forceful. First half, we were exceptional. There was a couple of shots on target that probably should have been converted, but separate to that, crikey, some of the players, Adrian Traffeur, up and down like a workhorse. He was attacking, he was defending, he was basically doing, I don't know if you remember, but we did a show comparing Kerkez and Traffeur. And we said that some of the things that Traffeur was missing that Kerkez had, he's now very much got within his bank. Very exciting to see. What's your thoughts on him first half?
Traffeur, first half, immense. It really was. It was a joy to watch the link-up play, whether it was with Brooksy or Semenyo or whoever up front. And he just kept bombing down. I don't know how many crosses he put in the first half, but I mean, tireless running. For me in the first half, he was the standout player, without a shadow of a doubt. He didn't get my man of the match, but we'll talk about it later on. Brilliant first half from our left back.
Yeah, and as mentioned about the few chances, and again, credit where credit's due, because yes, they weren't necessarily converted, but the amount of crosses that came in much more accurately, much more often, more frequent from that left-hand side, from Traffeur, they were hitting Evan Nilsson's head. They were connecting each time. They just weren't quite getting put in the back of the net. So, yeah.
There certainly was a couple there, but I mean, it was, I think it must have been his second opportunity. There was no way he was going to get any power on it. So, it went straight to the keeper. But having said that, it is, if you don't put the ball in, you can't create chances.
Yeah, exactly.
It's logic, really, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. If you don't buy a ticket, you're not going to win the raffle. Yeah, you have to try and shoot if you want to get a goal. It's simple in the world of football. You're absolutely right. After kind of dominating much of those early exchanges, as we mentioned, obviously Alex got scored in the 18th minute. Then was the disruption that you asked me to come back to. So that's Jack Hinchelwood.
Yeah, Hinchelwood in the very first minute. That was just, I mean, I cringed when I saw the replay. That must have hurt the guy. Sad to see. Nobody at fault. It was just one of those freakish things. I mean, we've seen it often enough in football when it happens, but so early, just kicked off. So obviously for Brighton, that was because I mean, he was, one of their supposedly better players in the midfield. In a way, how do you go about replacing that right at the start? You basically just throw everything again out the window and try and do a reset. But because the players' mindset are already on who they got on the field, the manager as well. I mean, he's not expecting that, is he? So difficult one. Like I said, I felt really sorry for the guy, but that's football. You have to take that, and I don't know if that actually played into our hands, because I mean, certainly the first 20, 25 minutes, we were running the show really. They offered
Yeah.
very little up front, and then came the second incident. Ollie and I chatted a little bit off air that it was a bit unnecessary from Semenyo. Two reasons. I mean, they're both running out of pace. Secondly, there's no runoff on the side of the pitch or behind the goals. So if anything's going to happen, it's not going to look very good either way, And to give him that shove when the ball was going out anyway.
Just for reference, that was for Maxime de Cooper, wasn't it? Pushed into the advertising in the back corner.
And whilst he was off the pitch first time, so before he got substituted, that's when we scored. Just one of those things, isn't it? But hey ho. Was it illegal? Was it illegal? First of all, I don't think so, because it was shoulder. He went with the shoulder, and I've watched enough reactions from the opposition on YouTube, and I think some people watched the different games, said, pushing with two hands, which he didn't do, etc., etc. But I mean, there is also some very good content from the Brighton fans worth watching. Very fair and honest views. So,
do you know the name of that podcast? Do you remember the name of that Seagulls podcast?
I think it's Seagulls something. I can't remember. I mean, I could look it up. In fact, while you're chatting,
go on. That's fine.
You carry on, and I'll have a quick butchers.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I just want to touch a little bit more on the first half. Obviously, we had large spells of control. Like, we were kind of dispositioning how Brighton were playing at pretty much every opportunity. They didn't have a shot on target, or even a shot, I don't think, in the first half, I believe. I may be slightly incorrect there, but I'm pretty sure. And then it was only when, and this is what interested me, is the effect that half-time had. Now, I was under a huge assumption that the halftime talks and coming out for the second half was going to be entirely different. I felt like we were going to be the more aggressive. I felt like we were going to be more dominating, and I felt like we were going to come out more of a powerhouse, and it didn't seem that way. And that obviously showed, because momentum shift when Minte crossed it from the right-hand side. James Hill, probably just a metre too far away from his defender. And Mitoma headed it right into the back corner. No one was getting that. Great play from Brighton. Tad off from James Hill, in my opinion. He definitely could have been tighter to that defender. But overall for James Hill, a good game. He just could have done a bit more. Now, after that, we were under pressure massively. There was probably a 10 or 15 minute time frame where Bournemouth were kind of getting hit a little bit, and we didn't look as composed. But we stayed pretty compact. There was no way through at that point, which, again, kudos to people like Milos the Savage, right? First game in, and he's pretty much played the whole game. And we couldn't have asked for anything more from a centre-back on his debut game. He was everything a centre-back needed to be. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the back line was really good. They didn't threaten that much, to be honest with you. And watching the game back and seeing how all the midfield, when we have to defend, all the midfield drop back. Evan Nielsen is very deep as well. And there's basically very little room around the box for the opposition to play a ball in or whatever. So it wasn't just against Brighton. Obviously, the previous game as well, you could see how well marshalled they are, even though it was Diakate at Tottenham. But super, when you consider, that's, I mean, I'm not going to keep going back to it, but they are relatively new. But they have this understanding. They must be so well drilled in training that they must know exactly what to. And one man must have the shower. And I would go for Marcus Senesi, that he is the guy that has the say. But wow, it's. I don't get nervous when opposition attackers. I just don't get nervous at all. Before it used to be like, but
yeah,
they just seem to be so well organised. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And you're right, the nerves aren't there for me, and especially not in this instance with Brighton, because you knew this game was going to provide goals. It was going to produce goals from the get-go. I thought there was going to be more, to be honest, and I thought there was going to be more of a bite back from Brighton. Go on.
I got really annoyed because somebody, and I can't remember where it was, it might have been actually on one of these like BBC Sports things where people have their say in everything, and somebody actually put on there, if you want to bet on 2.5 or more goals.
Right.
And I forgot to do it.
No.
But hey,
so,
yeah.
I think I had both teams to score, Bournemouth to win. So I had it.
I did have a double. I had Bournemouth and Newcastle to win. So here we are. That was all right.
Yeah. There was so I wanted to touch on a few more things in the second half before we looked at the comments, and I've got a couple of questions for you as well, just in regards to the game, because I want to get your take on a few things.
Okay.
Now, after that goal came for Brighton, 1-1, 48 minutes. It then took 12 minutes of that kind of compact style pressure defended for 61 minutes, penalty. Evan Nilsson, right hand side, could have looked like a last man. Do you know what I mean? For sure. But I don't know why that didn't come across as that. But going back to the penalty, it was just Semenyo. Did you see it? Did you see the grin he gave the keeper?
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, you actually did mention this to me after the game, didn't you? We had a quick video chat.
It was a standout moment for me.
And I thought, hang on, I got to watch this. Yeah,
brilliant. And you could tell he took it within his. He breathed. He was ready for it. He looked up at the keeper. You could tell the keeper was trying to eye him out, and he just gave him a little grin, a little smile, and slotted it away. Brilliant penalty. Kind of regaining. Go on.
What a god awful mistake from Dunk, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, things like that just shouldn't happen in the Premier League. But
yeah, and the thing is it doesn't surprise me even to this day, because you continue to see it, right? You'd like to think that someone like Dunk, he's known English football his whole life.
Yeah,
his whole life. You know how to act. You know where your attitude should be. There shouldn't really be moments of madness for these kind of players, in my opinion. There shouldn't be.
No. By the way, it's Seagull Social. Seagull Social is the podcast, yeah.
Shout out to Seagull Social, because apparently that's a good watch. So I'm going to go and catch up with that tonight as well. So the other big thing to mention for me was 10 subs made in total this game. So 5 subs from each team. That is, incredible to see. It would have been great to see Ben Doak get some minutes at the end, as well as Krupi. However, we've played it outright. And I think what's good is we haven't, after we went 2-1 up, we didn't take possession. It wasn't like we slowed the game down. It wasn't like we were trying to keep the ball. There was none of that in there whatsoever. We continued to try and plough on the pressure a little bit, and that showed with the subs. Yeah.
Defend from the front.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And we broke Brighton down. We broke them down in pretty much every aspect of that game. And even if you look at stats are well in our favour.
Okay, but it's looking at some of the Brighton players, obviously Minty and Mitoma.
Yeah.
Obviously, Minty for me was their standout player. James Milner, the old man, he had just over an hour. got stuck in, but they seem just so, I don't know, were they not loss of form, or I haven't a clue. Obviously made a few notes here. Belieber came on as sub. Now, the commentator actually mentioned that he was on the bench because he'd been playing international football during the week. Is that an excuse? Because look how many of our players were away. But when he came on, he didn't really do a lot special. I mean, what's the hype around him? I know he's linked to Manchester United, but I mean, if he continues playing the way he showed when he came on, perhaps Manchester will say, well, you're not really that clever, are you?
No.
Or is his mindset, and this is what the guys on the other podcast said, is his mindset already on this move to Manchester?
Yeah, I think it's definitely possible, and I think it's a conversation that we continue to bring up, right?
I think so.
Malcolm, it's this mindset and how you're feeling, fans, the club, the area, like everything comes into play. And I think there was definitely some unsettling strategies going on, because you could see it from the start. You had Veltman and Van Heck, the two defenders from Brighton, and they were getting stuck in and getting aggressive from pretty early on, pretty early on. And as you said, Milner, Welbeck, veterans on the pitch, and they put their heart and soul into it. You can see that they love football. They still love the chance that they're getting all these minutes, but there were a couple of chances where their pace was letting them down, and they weren't quite getting to the ball. But
would you say it was fine margins on Saturday that decided the game?
No, I wouldn't. No. I think that I think Bournemouth dominated in a way that showed continuity from the Tottenham game. What it shows is how solid we can be as a team. And I think you mentioned it earlier, the fact that we can replace a player like Diakite and bring in Milos Savic and still have the exact same strategies, the exact same formations working, the exact same solidarity between our back four and our goalkeeper. That shows, that just absolutely shows that behind these 90 minutes every weekend, there is a ton of work going on in the background, which has to be thought of, right? So, I think it's also important to. There's a couple of things that I've written down here. Game management, obviously, I've mentioned after going ahead. Not trying to kill the game with possession. Effective pressing and wide play. Like we're seeing this as a standard now, especially with Ariola's tactics. Early exploiting Brighton with use of fullbacks or wide players, with runs and vision through the right and left wings, through transitions, back and forth from attacking and defending players. Like it was probably, in my opinion, the most exciting game to watch all season so far.
Okay. I mean, we've played, Liverpool aside, the last 3 games, every opposition has been different. Yeah. So how we're going up against them, how they're going up against us.
Yeah.
Okay. Taking into consideration, Brighton have beaten us 5 out of the last 6 previous to this. So they're one of the teams that we really had to sort of try and overcome. So that's, for me, is a really, really big positive. These are, there's another couple there that maybe we can get draws with, but say, come on, this season we want to beat them. Palace, for example, we struggle against Brentford. It's about time we do them as well. Not in a nasty way, but try and get 3 points off them. You have to, take each game as it comes anyway, which is the way I like to look at it. Who knows where it's going to stop? But anyway, going back to what I was going to say, 3 different types of opposition, 3 different positive results, and 3 different ways of us combating them. That's I mean, obviously for me, Tottenham was a dream because of the way we just steamrolled them. Basically over the full 90 minutes. And I'm not going to go into, the lack of goals on that because, I mean, that's football. But it's the way you set up, the way you go against these teams. And obviously when Newcastle come down, it's going to be totally different again. So it's great to see how we're evolving as a complete unit. It's not the starting 11, as you mentioned. It's the players that can come in. They know exactly what they got to do. Andoni knows where he's going to put them. So I'm just loving it. It's exciting stuff. It really is exciting stuff.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. I'm going to hit clear these comments, and then I've actually got some questions for you, Malcolm.
Okay, matey.
Where are we? Yes, so Daniel had a top 5 prediction for the end of the season. Dan, if you didn't put a bet on it and it happens, then you should probably go and do it now, actually, saying that. Let's not jinx it. Stick a 5 on that now, Dan, just in case. Jamie Kane's very impressed with our new Serbian centre-back on Saturday. Very composed. Yeah, fantastic. Sean, injuries messed up Brighton's plans, but it means we had to change plans as well. Absolutely.
Of course,
there's always detriment for things changing on the pitch. Absolutely. Sean, the only thing I get a little annoyed as we seemed to be going for the far post a lot and no one was there. I did notice that there was a couple of times that there was some empty space. However, with all of this positivity and all of these things that we're able to point out and see and get excited about, there is always going to be things that we can get better at. And I think these open spaces, I mean, even if I was to get down to real nitty gritty stuff, Adrian Traffeur's crossing could be slightly better and slightly tweaked. There could be
the first two crosses was way over the top. They put in,
exactly.
And so obviously he got his range by the time the third cross went in, so he knew where he had to put it. So hey ho.
Exactly that, and I think again, if we're changing players and changing strategies, then there's always going to be some alternation in where on how players learn or how players mold together. And bear in mind, 4 games in, we have had a player like Diakite, who's never played with us or in the Premier League for 2 games. We've had Milos the Savage, who again has never played with us or in the Premier League. All of these transitions are hugely important to take in. But yeah, agree, Sean. There is a bit too much of that at the moment, but let's see what we do with that moving forward. Jamie Keynes mentions a ladies' game. Excellent result also for ladies' Cherries at weekend as well. 3-0. Yeah, fantastic news. Now, I believe Craig is in the house. Evening, everyone. How are we all doing? Evening, Craig.
Hi, Craig.
It's Craig, by the way.
It is Craig, by the way. I did watch you back, by the way, later on today.
Yes, he did. He did, Craig. I can vouch for that. Agree, Jamie. Milo Sakovic did very well. Spelt it out as it's really bloody hard to say just reading it. Yeah. Accurate spelling for the reading it out, mate. Sean, does anyone know about the Diakite injury? I know I've probably spelled it wrong. I believe it's minor. I think it was
it's
a tiny.
It's a knock.
Yeah. Sean asked Craig, was you surprised Semenyo taking the penalty? How about you guys? Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't have been my first choice, but my first choice wasn't on the pitch.
That's right. Or the second choice.
Well, you could argue all the second choice, yeah.
Obviously, he was confident, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think that is the key thing here, right? We come back to this vision and the feeling that players have, that the club has, that we're trying to build as fans and as a team and as a founder and investors, all of this thing that we're trying to build. And Semenyo has done something that I've not noticed other players doing, and that is heavy on social media, heavy with his beliefs, his opinions. He posts positive, like he is all about the mental game. And I think if he says, yes, let me take this penalty, you don't ever go, nah, are you sure? Because Semenyo is not the kind of guy that you know. There was full confidence there, and you could tell by his little smile just before he kicked that football. Couldn't have been more impressed. Couldn't have been more impressed. He he's just turning into a fantastic character and player all around.
Monster.
Yeah. I really like him. I really like Semenyo. I've
Yeah.
got a little soft spot for him. He's just such a nice guy, and
Yeah.
he's so involved with it. And yeah, I've got time for that. I've got time for someone who really cares when they're on the pitch, and you can tell he does. Sean. Oh, something I forgot to mention this morning. Moore scored again. Sound. Keith Moore. Yeah, love those little updates.
That's exciting.
Yeah. And Chris Hubble, it was a great goal by Scott. It was a fantastic goal, Chris.
Yeah, super awesome.
Go for it.
Lloyd Kelly scored as well for Juventus. Yeah.
Did he?
Sorry. I just thought I'd throw that one in there.
Love it. Yeah. No, just as good. So look, I've got 3 questions that I want to ask you.
You're taxing my brain tonight, aren't you?
Hey? You're
taxing my brain tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, sorry, Malcolm. Sorry. I did tell you before I was excited for this one. So the first one is, if you were Iriola, would you have done anything differently in the second half?
Wow, what a good question. What a good question.
I know that we like to go away and research things like this, but the reason I'm doing it kind of off the top of your head is just there's always 1 or 2 standout things where you're like, oh, maybe when I think back to it.
Okay, so he brought Adley on, which I thought was good. Yeah, I mean, he was obviously unfortunate not having Christie available. Bringing Lewis on for some minutes was impressive. To be honest with you, the setup, I mean, you couldn't change anything really at the back. Yes, you can, like maybe because Hill went off, didn't he? Right, but
it does bring me to my next question. There is a reason.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just trying to work through. Scott went off, didn't he? Brooksy went off.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'd have left Alex Scott on, to be honest with you, if anything. But Brooksy again, great performance. You know, I mean, he's stepped up his levels this season already. Wow.
And isn't it weird how, considering, just before the transfer season ended, there was talks of him possibly looking elsewhere, and then he signed a 4-year contract, and now all of a sudden,
not only him.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, bang, 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 they're all staying.
Yeah, exactly.
There's got to be something happening.
Yeah.
So,
agreed.
Your next question.
Next question leads on to Jimenez and Julio Soler when they came on.
Yep.
Now, the reason I asked this is because, in my opinion, that was the mistake, bringing on Julio Soler and Jimenez. I feel like they came on too aggressively. Obviously, Jimenez got a yellow card within minutes.
But that was stupid, wasn't it? Taking so long over a throw-in, that was unnecessary.
Yeah, again, you're very unnecessary, especially considering what we've just spoken about. The whole plan wasn't to slow the game down with possession. So I don't understand why you do that. But and then Julio Soler, I just feel like there was just too much passion and gumph in 86 minutes coming on as a sub and we're winning 2-1. It was too much for me, and it didn't fall in line with everything else that had happened. That's my only comment.
Right, I think I got the right answer to this.
Go on.
And that is why Andoni's the manager.
Well, yeah, exactly.
he does that sort of thing, doesn't he? So always expect the unexpected from him.
Yeah. And there's always just one thing that stands out every game, and I'm like, such an interesting thing to have done.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing I wouldn't have done. And they're building up now. Every game that you watch more intently and more intently.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, why have we done that? And it's like, why have we done that last game? And you start to build this little picture of how his mind works, and I still can't figure it out. So it's it's good to watch. Now, final question. before we essentially close the show off for the night, because I know that you're
You're
not the
right. Keep
biggest
going.
fan.
Huh?
Not the biggest fan of this question, mate. And that is, does this match, or the matches up to this point, up to us being fourth, up to us having 9 points in the league so far, does this show the depth and temperament to compete for European football?
Okay. I mean, obviously, you know my views on, talking about Europe. I'm not a fan of it because
I know. Yeah.
it's only fourth game in. But we got the depth in the squad. We got the belief. When it doesn't matter what the starting 11 is, when they go out on that pitch, they believe they can beat anybody. And a lot of clubs will be watching what Bournemouth are doing, and they won't relish coming up against us.
Yeah.
We do things a little bit differently under Andoni. Now, pre-season, I said I'm going for 9th or 10th for this season, and that Europe would be next season. Okay, that'll be the 5th year of Bill Foley's project. Now, getting the players in he's got in, getting all these extensions done to contracts, it's looking very, very positive, and it could be a year early. It could be. I'm not saying it will be. I said, but it is a possibility.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a couple of scores to settle against certain clubs. How it works out, well, I mean, we can't read into the future, unfortunately. But I think, if we go in with the belief that we've started with, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, even the first game, it was no disgrace, was it? The way we played at Liverpool. So, that should have really, given us an idea of what was to come. But you just don't know, do you? That is the unfortunately, you just don't know. So we got Wolves out of the way, which was always a sticky one. We've now got Brighton out of the way, 3 points. Did Tottenham, which we didn't finish off last season, unfortunately, when should have done. So yeah, it's looking good. And bearing in mind, last season, Newcastle ended up a draw that shouldn't have been. It should have been a 2-1 victory. Thank you, VAR. And Eddie Howe can't beat Bournemouth in the Premier League. So, the writing's on the wall. I'm not saying it will, but I mean, being positive, my glass is always half full.
Always.
Why not? Why not? Let's go for the next 3 points at the weekend.
Yeah. And as you said, game by game, right?
Yeah,
weekend by weekend.
That's the only way to do it. And I mean, if you're throwing it at me and I say, yeah, okay, Europe is a possibility. As long as we got the depth in the squad, I would sit. I mean, I'm not going to sit on the fence and say, yeah, I prefer Conference League. I would say Europa League, tops. Champions League now. It's too big. It's way too big.
Yeah, I wouldn't want it.
I wouldn't want it. So, if it's going to be the first taste, then let's try Europa League and see what's what. But that, like I said, that is just in the future. I'm not even consider it. Like I said, my thoughts really are at the weekend. To what's coming up.
Hopefully, all the fans that watch this show also know that, and your thoughts and feelings on it, because we've discussed it enough, right? And it's not pointless, but it's silly to try and analyze, because we all know what happens in football. Anything can happen for the next 5 games, all sorts. So,
Ollie, since the third game, so since the Spurs game and the game of the weekend, all right, whenever I've looked online for something or another, 2 things come up. First of all, the E word, and the second thing is Andoni's contract. It just does my head in.
I bet it does.
Leave it out, fans. Just leave it out. For those that don't know, Andoni's contracted to the end. So in May, he will not sign a new contract this side of Christmas. He never does it.
Yep. Nope.
And when he does, it's a short contract. He's always done it, even before he come to Bournemouth. Why should he change? And let the social media say what they like, because they ain't got a clue. He's going to stay with us.
Yeah, you've heard it here first, people. You've heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Look in the chat. Hope he wants to go with EasyJet.
Craig is forever very.
Yeah, but you can go. You can always go to the new camp, mate.
Yeah, anytime.
Yeah. Just go online, buy a ticket.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome answer. Really appreciate it. I did have another question.
Yeah, go on.
Would you like it? Yeah, fine.
Come on, always open for something.
Now, going forward, obviously, I think I know how you think, and I know how you look at things like this. So I know I know what your answer is going to be. But going forward, does this style, tight matches, narrow wins, sometimes kind of just getting over the line, and holding plays, nothing's really excessive or 2, 3, 4, 5-0s at the minute, right? Is this style of play, does it suit us long term, or are we due a performance where we fully dominate here? How does this look for you moving forward?
Okay, to have games constantly like we've had, where we did dominate Spurs, come on. But games like Wolves and Brighton, where they're a little bit closer, the concentration levels have to be there. Right, it's easy to like when you're really dominating and you haven't got the goals. But I've said already this season we're going to smash somebody. I haven't a clue who it's going to be, but we will. We're going to actually thump somebody. It comes when it comes. But when the games are tight, the concentration levels have to be there. So it's using this all the time, and I think that's a good thing. It's a positive thing because it's so much awareness around the whole field. I love it, to be honest with you. Full faith in the back four and the keeper. I can't see. We're not going to get stuffing at all this season. Yeah, we're not going to win every game, but it's really positive, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And if we're going to be winning games 2-1, 3-2, it doesn't matter. It's keeping the concentrations going and being just that one step further ahead than the opposition. Sorry.
Yeah.
Get my teeth in.
Yeah. So I've got you doing lots of talking tonight, Malcolm. So
I've got a point to bring up now. I mean, I did. Sorry for the viewers. I did write quite a bit here this afternoon, but it was something I wanted to mention because it doesn't matter where you look on social media. People go on about referees, and it does my head in. The poor guys in black, green, whatever colour they're wearing, they got a thankless job. Because when they make one mistake, they're going to get shouted down, aren't they? So now I know it was the last minute of the game, and I got a feeling it was it Van Heck? He went down. He went down with a challenge, all right. Jumping up for a ball. I can't remember with who it was. And he caught something in the back of his head. He went down and he actually laid on the floor like that. Now, the referee, it doesn't matter what you think about the guy, he stopped play thinking this is a head injury. And he called the trainers on. And suddenly the guy sprang up onto his feet as though nothing had happened and started shouting the odds. Now, the referee got that spot on. Now, if a player's trying to con the referee, that's not on. So he had to go off, and obviously he missed the final whistle, didn't he? Because he was on the sideline.
And you're absolutely right, because it was mentioned at the time that the new rules are when the referee states that he thinks you've got a head injury, if you've gone down, you leave the pitch. You're off that pitch.
Yeah.
There is no ifs, buts, and maybes. You have to take yourself off the pitch if it's a head injury. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
so-
agree with you. I'm gonna back that. Kudos to that ref.
yeah. It wasn't the
he-
easiest game for him. Some things he could have let go.
Yeah.
Some things he let go, which perhaps he shouldn't have done.
Mm.
But the penalty was a penalty. I don't care what anybody says. I'm not going to say it's stonewall, but it certainly, he had a decent view of it, and VAR confirmed it, so that's enough. I don't need to really go into that. Also, post-match, Fabian Hertzler said that Brighton dominated the game. So
Did he?
now I gotta do this to the Seagulls social for what they mentioned. They didn't obviously agree with him. They couldn't understand, who wrote his script after the game. But hey ho, it just shows you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the thing is that anywhere that you look shows that wasn't the case. If I look at the stats now, I think there was 3 yellow cards each, which is awesome. I think that shows tenacity and aggression in challenges from both sides, which is good. But 13 shots for Bournemouth, 6 for Brighton. 5 of ours were on target against 2 of theirs. We had 393 passes against, that's 60 more than them. 8 more fouls. Like, everything about us was just more. There was more pressure, more passion. We clearly wanted it a bit more.
Exactly. You have to do that little bit more than the opposition, and this is what I was referring to, like winning 3-2, 2-1, 1-0, whatever. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
So it's
yeah, and look, what a result. I'm not going to ask you about next weekend because that's not what this evening's show is about. We're going to do that tomorrow morning for our normal.
have a look in the chat. Have a look in the chat.
Give Newcastle a game for Bournemouth to win on Sunday. Oh, it's the wrong date, Sean. There we go. For the women to get 1,000 days undefeated in the league, need to not lose next 4 league games and 1,000 days at Ringwood against Oxford.
That's very good.
We'll bring these up in. It's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, but all info for Cherry AM this, Sean. So keep this under your hat and bring it out in Cherry AMs without a doubt. Mentioned that it was on the 29th of October, but that now could be wrong. Fancy a trip to the new camp? Yeah, we're not doing that one.
Now, unfortunately, I won't be able to see the Newcastle game.
Okay.
I'll be on the water, mate. So,
no. Okay. Lucky you.
But I shall have something on to, notify me of how things are going.
I can keep you posted. I'm more than happy to keep you posted, mate.
Please do. Yeah. Please do. I wouldn't get annoyed at you sending me messages. Yeah. Seriously. And if I get a connection, I'll give you a video call.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Especially if the Northern Lights are on.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do. Please do. Malcolm, as always, I really appreciate you joining me for a Cherry Slaps.
Thank you for letting me join you. I do enjoy it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
And next Monday, hopefully we can have a
will I see you tomorrow?
Yeah, you will in the morning. Funnily enough, actually.
Oh my goodness me!
12 hours time. 12 hours time.
Too much excitement.
But no, I appreciate it, Malcolm. As always, I appreciate everyone in the chat for giving their comments.
Thanks everybody for joining us.
Any opposition fans, but we will one day eventually. And I'm pretty sure it'll be next week because my best pal is a Newcastle fan. So
you've been saying that for the last 2 weeks.
Oh, that's fingers crossed. It doesn't say much about my best pals, Malcolm. That's the problem. But for tonight, up the Cherries in all departments. Appreciate everyone being here, and I will see you again bright and early for Cherry AM.
Have a good evening, everybody. Have a Cherries.
Thanks,
bye.
Bye for now.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
I should be like you, Mel.